We are Team 5 and we will be analyzing Task Force X, which is commonly known as the Suicide Squad. The team history and background of the Suicide Squad is extremely unique. In the aftermath of the death of Superman, intelligence officer Amanda Waller convinced the U.S. government to approve the formation of a secret government squad called Task Force X, which was a response team of criminals and supervillains tasked with stopping the Enchantress, who had taken over Midway City. The Enchantress is a demonic witch possessing the body of Dr. June Moon, an American archaeologist. The members of Task Force X consist of 6 inmates who are all being held prisoner at Belle Reef Penitentiary due to crimes they had all committed. The team members get reduced sentences by completing the missions to prevent attacks, and the government places remote-controlled bombs in their necks to ensure their compliance on these tasks. Task Force X includes Amanda Waller, Rick Flag, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, El Diablo, Katana, Captain Boomerang, and Slipknot. Next, we'll go into details on each of these members. The entire team is led by Intelligence Officer Amanda Waller, who gives out all the squad's orders. Waller is relentless in her power and motives and also completely lacks any sort of guilt or empathy. Rick Flag is a heroic military leader who leads the team in the field and is in love with a human, Dr. June Moon, whose body has been taken over by the Enchantress. Deadshot is an expert marksman and hitman who is motivated by his young daughter. He also becomes a natural, informal leader on the team. Harley Quinn is a former psychiatrist and current girlfriend of psychopathic crime boss the Joker. The two are partners in crime. She fights off the Enchantress's army with her expert gymnastics skills and proficiency in weapons and hand-to-hand combat.
Killer Croc is a cannibalistic metahuman who has superhuman powers and the capacity to breathe underwater. Everyone was scared of his looks at first, however, he was a quiet team player in the movie. El Diablo is a former gang member who has fire-conjuring powers. He accidentally killed his wife with his power, so he refused to use his power at first, but he sacrificed his own life to save team members. Katana is an associate of Rick Flag, and she is a samurai warrior who is skilled with a sword and fights for justice. Captain Boomerang is a world-class thief who utilizes deadly boomerang, and he completes any task for cold beers. Slipknot is a metahuman who has the capacity to climb everything and is a master of rope.
With respect to the outcomes of the Suicide Squad, we identified one tangible outcome and one intangible outcome that came about through the work that they conducted together. The tangible outcome that Task Force X realized was goal achievement. Of course, they did this by defeating the Enchantress and her brother and saving the world in the process. Though the team was off to a rocky start, through strange team processes, adept leadership, and overall good teamwork, they were able to reach this outcome. This outcome of goal achievement is the most obvious outcome. However, the less obvious and less tangible outcome was member and team development. More specifically, this came in the form of team cohesion and individual motivation. The members of the Suicide Squad actualized these outcomes through developing team norms, increasing their emotional intelligence between one another, as well as other factors that we will discuss in upcoming slides.
We believe that the first key component that made the Suicide Squad success was the force compliance. The government planted bombs in the neck of the criminal members in order to ensure the operation did not go wrong. In the process, Rick Flag also exploded a bomb in the neck of the Slipknot who was escaping. He also deters the other members, while force compliance succeeded in putting the squad members together, but most of the time, they are working individually rather than cooperating efficiently. We also believe that exercising the coercive power in this manner is an unhealthy way to manage conflict. We will talk more about this in later slides.
For key component number 2, we are looking at increased trust. In the forming stage of Task Force X, similar to a transnational team, they struggled with many things as everyone had come from completely different backgrounds and they did not have a common goal. Once the group reached the norming stage and once the bombs had been dissolved, the group established both in-group trust as well as communication. Because of this, they came together in a cohesive manner, this time with the same goal, to defeat the Enchantress. For key component number 3, we are looking at cohesion building. As stated in the last slide, Task Force X had no commonalities before joining together. As they spent more time together, they began to build trust as well as transactive memory, which only made the team stronger. Overall, Rick Flag was just in being honest with the group members, and it ultimately led to their success.
With that being said, the first key takeaway is that team management is an essential skill in order to have the chance of being successful. It truly comes down to effective leadership, which empowers and inspires your team to complete and have the motivation to complete all the tasks needed. It must be ensured that the team's potential is fully utilized without making the team feel overwhelmed. In terms of Suicide Squad, we realized that Amanda Waller always seemed to hold information from the team on a need-to-know basis, which proved the trait of being an ineffective leader. Hence, for the future application, we plan to apply this knowledge for prioritizing team stability before proceeding with anything else. Agreeing on matters such as common knowledge, leadership, boundaries, and short and long-term goals are necessary to be in unity. In other words, maintaining shared mental models helps team members have a clear understanding on takes and operations, which keeps everyone's eye on the goal. Being able to communicate clearly, working through any differences, and focusing on building rapport with one another, especially at the beginning of the team forming, is crucial. With transparency in future projects, we know this can reap the maximum benefits from each member's skill set, improve internal accountability, and keep the progress in check. Our next key takeaway is to not judge a book by its cover, and in this case, the book being your team members. Each of the team members was initially judged by the crimes they had committed and were stereotyped in Suicide Squad. This broad categorization stereotyped each as a bad guy and not a team player. The team players had perceptual biases toward the squad for members, such as the fundamental attribution error. There is so much more to a person than what is on the outside, or even on the first impression, which is why in the future we plan to be keen on staying aware when we are experiencing this fundamental attribution error and acting accordingly instead of judging and avoiding based on this interaction. Finally, our third key takeaway is the benefits of having a diverse team with differing roles and skill sets. Diversity can sometimes be thought of as an increasing conflict, but in the case of Squad and most realistic situations, we were shown the benefits of such diversity. The diversity was deep level with different backgrounds, beliefs, attitudes, and skills, and we realized this had positive effects on their decision making, creativity, and even performance. We were shown how the team could not efficiently complete their tasks without each member utilizing their specific skill and talent. We know that future projects will be much better off by focusing on honesty, communication, and diversity, which this will benefit each individually and as a team. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and hear our insights. Please feel free to email us with any questions or concerns. Thank you.